Good morning. The Morrow family of Newgate Street, 1942. Blimey, it's all go down in Newgate Street this year. Part 4 explores the daily struggles of the Morrow family and their social circle in London during the middle years of World War II. It details how women adapt to wartime roles, ranging from munitions work to street cleaning, while grappling with personal scandals such as illegitimate pregnancies and familial estrangement. Maud and Richard Morrow navigate the difficulties of rationing, local tragedies, plus the arrival of American troops. All while managing their shop and supporting friends through injuries and grief. Themes of social stigma and survival are prominent, particularly regarding the prostitute Agnieszka, pardon me for buggering the Polish language, Agnieszka, and the displaced Arabella, who both seek stability. Ultimately, the story provides a somber window into the resilience of civilians facing the exhausting reality of a prolonged global conflict. The AI voices, as usual, do a marvelous job. Enjoy.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are settling in for the long haul. We're continuing our journey through the chronicles of the Morrow family, and we're focusing on the 4th installment of their wartime saga.
That's right.
This is book 4 of 8, so we are hitting the halfway mark of this incredible series. And if you thought the Blitz was heavy, if you thought the firestorms of 1940 were the peak of intensity, well, you should probably buckle up, because today we are tackling 1942.
It's good to be back. And you are so right to set that tone immediately. Because when you look at the source material for this session, the Morrow family of Newgate Street, 1942, we're seeing a very different beast compared to the previous year.
They're totally different.
We've watched this family survive the initial shock of 1939 and the absolute terror of the Blitz in 40 and 41. But 1942, this feels different. It's less about the adrenaline of dodging bombs and more about, the grind.
That is the perfect word for it, the grind. It seems like if the Blitz was a sprint for survival, 1942 is the marathon of endurance. The adrenaline has faded, the heroism is fraying at the edges, and what's left is just the sheer, exhausting weight of a war that seemingly has no end.
Right.
And the sources paint this incredibly vivid, almost claustrophobic picture right from the opening pages. We aren't starting with a bang, we're starting with the cold.
Oh, the cold. It's a character in itself in this installment. Yeah. It's January 1942, central London. Maud, our matriarch, wakes up at 5515 in the morning. And the description isn't just, it was chilly, it's visceral.
It really is.
It's bitterly cold, pitch black, and the only light is from her bedside clock. And get this, the source describes it as having a radioactive glowing green dial.
That image is so specific, isn't it? It just captures that eerie early morning dread. Radium dials were common then, but in this context, that toxic green glow feels almost malicious.
It does.
And notice what she hears. It's not air raid sirens screaming. It's the sound of heavy trucks on Newgate Street, marching boots, and the low-level industrial noise of a city that has been militarized for 4 years.
Right. It's the omnipresent grind. And that's really the mission of today's deep dive. We want to unpack the theme of fracture and resilience, because what really stood out to me in this material is that the biggest threat to the Morrow family this year isn't a German bomb.
No.
It's not an incendiary device falling on the roof.
No, the danger has moved inside the house.
It's disintegration. It's the family unit itself starting to crack under the pressure. In the earlier narratives, the family was huddled together in the shelter. The external threat, forced them to bond.
Right, us against the world.
Exactly. But in 1942, we see weariness setting in. We see moral decay. We see the traditional structures dissolving. And the catalyst for all of this isn't Hitler. It's a letter, a stranger in high heels, and a betrayal by the person Maud trusts most, her son William.
So let's not bury the lead here. We have to talk about this scandal, because this isn't just a little family spat. This is an explosion that shatters the household right at the start of the year.
It's the moment everything changes.
Let's set the scene. It's a freezing January evening. The shop is about to close. Gail, the young assistant, who we'll talk more about her later, she's putting up the blackout boards.
Mm-hmm.
And in walks this woman, and she is, well, she's not your typical Newgate Street shopper.
Not at all. This is Agnieszka Winiewski.
Yeah.
And the source material describes her in, like, technicolor detail. She's wearing a foulard dress, black stilettos, and a tight yellow blouse.
In January.
And she's freezing, by the way. She's barely dressed for the weather.
And she's got this omelet fold hairstyle, bright red lipstick, and she's tall, nearly 6 feet in heels. She walks in with this fierce determination. She's not there to buy nails. She's there to drop a bomb.
And she drops it right on Maud. She confronts Maud, who is busy sweeping the shed, doing the mundane work of keeping the business alive, with the news that she is pregnant. And the father is Maud's beloved son, William.
The good boy. The one Maud puts on a pedestal. The soldier hero.
The very same. But it gets worse. It's not just the pregnancy. Agnieszka reveals that William has infected his fiancée, Arabella, with syphilis.
This social disease, just pause for a second and think about the impact of that in 1942. We aren't talking about a minor infection. This is something that carries a weight of shame that is almost impossible for us to understand today.
It's catastrophic. It's social suicide. And the way Maud reacts is fascinating. The text says she looks at her husband, Richard, with eyes that are dry and cold, like a dead woman.
Wow.
It's total shock. Her image of William is shattered instantly. But initially, she tries to deflect. She assumes this fallen woman, Agnieszka, must be the source of the corruption.
Right, she calls her corrupt. But Agnieszka, she doesn't back down. This is where the dialogue gets really tense. You'd expect the other woman in a 1940s setting to be shameful or weeping.
Not her.
But Agnieszka challenges Maud right to her face.
She basically says, look, I didn't give in the disease. I'm a professional. I am careful. Your son is the one who was sleeping around carelessly. She flips the script.
She does.
She forces Maud to see that William isn't the victim here. He's the perpetrator. He's the one who is spreading himself around on the South Coast with the cheap prostitutes.
And in the middle of this confrontation, we learn Agnieszka's backstory. And wow, talk about tragic. This isn't just a homewrecker character. This is a survivor of the highest order.
It is heartbreaking, and it adds so much nuance to her character. She explains that she was taken from England to Poland at age 7 by her father. And then, this is the detail that really sticks with you, her father sold her.
Sold her?
Yes, for a measure of beer.
Oh my God.
She was 8 years old. He sold her to a family in Gdansk for beer.
That is horrific. It completely reframes her character.
It explains everything about her survival instinct. She escaped the Nazis. She mentions seeing the annexation of Austria in 1938 and knowing it was time to run while the British government was still, appeasing Hitler.
She saw it coming.
She saw it coming. She came back to England, lived in a convent, and admitted to Maud that she worked as a prostitute to survive.
Yeah.
She says, I am not a stupid woman. She is fierce. She's unashamed because shame is a luxury she couldn't afford.
That line, I am not a stupid woman, really resonated with me. It's like she's telling Maud, you might judge me, but I know how the world actually works.
And exactly.
While Maud is trying to maintain this veneer of respectability, Agnieszka has been in the mud, surviving.
Exactly. And that clash of worldviews is central to the book. Maud represents the old moral order, which is struggling to make sense of the chaos, while Agnieszka represents the brutal new reality, where you do whatever it takes to stay alive.
So while this confrontation is happening downstairs, reshaping Maud's entire world, we have the victim of all this upstairs. Arabella, William's fiancée.
Poor Arabella. She is living a nightmare. She's bedridden, she's sick, and she's just been diagnosed with syphilis. And remember, in 1942, the treatment for this wasn't a quick course of antibiotics like today. Penicillin wasn't widely available for civilians yet.
No, the source mentions a treatment that lasts 8 to 10 weeks.
And it's harsh. We are talking about injections of heavy metals, arsenic, or bismuth compounds. It makes her ill, tired, and it carries a massive stigma. The text mentions she's terrified to be exposed or having a deformed infant if she were to have children later. It's a physical and psychological assault.
And her reaction to William is absolute cold fury. She writes him off completely. There's no wavering. She says, death or a possible deformed infant. She chooses herself. She chooses survival.
It's a pivotal moment for Arabella. This betrayal hardens her. It strips away her innocence, but it also gives her a backbone she didn't know she had. She realizes she has to survive this on her own.
Yeah.
The romance of the war is dead for her. Up until this point, she was playing the role of the dutiful fiancé, waiting for her hero to come home. Now, she realizes the hero is a villain, and she's on her own.
Which brings us to part 2 of our deep dive, the matriarch under siege. Because while Arabella is dealing with the medical fallout, Maud is trying to hold the entire world together, and it is physically breaking her.
It is. We see the physical toll of leadership on Maud. She develops shingles.
Ouch. Stress-induced shingles.
Exactly. Blinding headaches. She's spending days in the dark with vinegar compresses on her head. It's a physical manifestation of the toxicity in her life.
It has to be.
And on top of the family drama, the business Morrow's hardware store is struggling.
People just don't have money.
They don't have money, and she can't get stock. There's a great detail about soap. Soap is scarce. So what does Maud do? She doesn't just give up. She buys rendered beef, fat rejected by the Navy, and lye, and she starts making soap in the backyard.
That is so 1942. Rendering beef fat in the yard. I can almost smell it. It's disgusting work, but it's necessary. It shows that Blitz spirit turning into something grittier.
It's survivalism. It's primal. But while she's boiling fat, her family is boiling over. We have to talk about Freddie. He's the adopted son, the boy Maud saved in the earlier chronicles. He makes an appearance, but it's not the reunion she wanted.
No. He visits, he's 13 now, wearing an RAF cadet uniform, and he arrives in a taxi.
A taxi. That detail is incredibly symbolic. In this working-class, austerity-ridden neighborhood, arriving in a taxi is a statement of separation.
It's a wall.
It's a luxury. He's distant, he's moved on, he feels like he's outgrown the family, he's playing the role of the officer class.
Maud feels totally abandoned. She saved this kid's life, and now he's treating her like an acquaintance. It's heartbreaking because in the previous books, their bond was the emotional core. Now, the war machine has swallowed him up.
It reinforces that theme of fracture. The war takes children away, sometimes literally, sometimes emotionally. They enter these institutions, the army, the cadets, and they come back as strangers.
Yeah.
Freddie has adopted the mannerisms of a class above his station, and in doing so, he's severing the tie to the woman who raised him.
And the fracture isn't just with the sons. Maggie, Maud's daughter, is having a crisis of her own. She's married to Robert, but she is miserable.
She is. Robert has this obsession with moving to Canada after the war. He keeps leaving pamphlets around about the wide open spaces.
Oh, that's right.
He wants to escape the memory of the war in his past. But Maggie wants no part of it. She feels trapped. She briefly leaves him, packs up baby Nancy, and moves back to Maud's.
So Maud has a sick ex-fiancé upstairs, a pregnant stranger knocking on the door, a distant adopted son, and now her daughter moving back in because her marriage is failing. It's a full house of misery.
And caught in the middle is Richard. Good old Richard. He tries to be the peacemaker. He tries to tell Maud boys will be boys, blaming the army environment for William's behavior.
And Maud is not having it.
Not for a second. She refuses to forgive William. She holds him entirely responsible. This tension between Richard's keep calm and carry on attitude and Maud's deep moral outrage is a key conflict through the whole year.
It is.
Maud sees the consequences. The sick girl, the bastard child. Richard just sees a lad blowing off steam. It's a real clash of perspectives.
It's interesting how their marriage, which was so solid in the earlier books, starts to show these cracks. They aren't fighting about money or the house. They're fighting about the moral soul of the family.
That's it.
Richard wants to smooth things over, but Maud wants accountability.
Exactly. And that inability to find common ground isolates Maud even further. She feels like she's the only one who sees the gravity of the situation.
So we have this simmering pot of tension, and then in June, things get even more complicated. Part 3, the integration of the outsider. Agnieszka comes back.
And in true dramatic fashion, she comes back in a storm. It's pouring rain. Maud finds Agnieszka sheltering in a doorway with her newborn baby Cleopatra.
Cleopatra. That name is a statement in itself. It's regal, exotic, it's defiant.
It certainly is. And here is where we see the complexity of Maud's character. She is furious at the situation. She hates the sin. She hates that this woman is a living reminder of her son's betrayal. But she takes them in.
She says, what did Maggie expect her to do? Leave them out there to die.
Exactly. It's that pragmatic morality again. Maud is the neighborhood matriarch. She cannot let a baby freeze on her doorstep, even if that baby is the proof of her son's shame.
Right.
So now, Agnieszka moves into William's old room. The mistress is sleeping in the son's bed.
That is awkward. The spatial dynamics of the house have completely shifted.
It's incredibly awkward. Maggie openly dislikes her. She sees Agnieszka as a sponger. The house is crowded. But a strange dynamic forms. Maud hates the situation, but she falls in love with the grandchild. Cleopatra is innocent.
And there's a turning point with the christening, right?
Yes. Agnieszka asks for Cleopatra to be baptized. This shocks Maud. She viewed Agnieszka through the lens of her past as a fallen woman, a prostitute. But this request forces Maud to see her as a mother who wants the best for her child. She wants legitimacy for Cleopatra. It's the beginning of a grudging respect.
It's integration by necessity. The family is redefining itself, but while the Morrow household is absorbing this new member, Arabella is making her exit. Part 4. Arabella's independence.
This is one of the most empowering arcs in the source material. Arabella decides she cannot stay in that environment. She quits the hardware shop.
Good for her.
She can't handle the side effects of the treatment in public, and she needs to distance herself from the Morrow drama. She needs to stop being William's fiancée and start being Arabella.
She gets a job at a British restaurant. Now, for those who don't know, we should explain what that is.
Right. British restaurants were communal feeding centers set up by the government. They served cheap, nutritious meals off the ration to help workers. It was hard work, hot work, but it was vital. It gets Arabella out of the house and into the war effort on her own terms. It's a space where she isn't judged by her romantic history, but by how hard she works.
And later, she becomes a receptionist for Dr. Holm. She proves she is capable. She's not just a victim, she's a professional woman.
There is a scene that I think perfectly captures this shift. Maud goes to visit the surgery because of her shingles.
Yes, this is a crucial scene. Maud walks in, expecting the old dynamic. She tries to be chatty, familial, maybe a little overbearing. She's looking for gossip or connection.
But Arabella shuts it down. She is professional, distant, and cold. She addresses Maud as a patient, not a mother-in-law-to-be.
A text says the clock is ticking loudly in the silence. It's so uncomfortable.
It is. Maud realizes in that moment that she has lost Aramessa as a daughter. Arabella refuses to engage in the family gossip or drama. She draws a hard boundary.
Yeah.
It's painful for Maud, but necessary for Arabella. It symbolizes the complete severance of the bond that William broke.
And good for her. She also meets someone new, Tom Flowers.
Tom Flowers, a soldier, but a metal worker in peacetime. They meet during an air raid, actually, or rather the aftermath of one, during the American Parade chaos.
He sounds like the anti-William.
He really is. He isn't the dashing, reckless officer type. He's kind, he's gentle.
Yeah.
And most importantly, when Arabella tells him everything about the betrayal, the syphilis, the shame, he accepts it.
That's the key moment. She risks rejection again, but he stays.
He doesn't judge her. He represents a hopeful future, whereas William represents the corrupted past. It shows that there are still decent men left in the world, despite the war. It's a sliver of hope in a very dark narrative.
It's a beautiful contrast. So while these personal dramas are unfolding, the war itself is grinding on in the background. Part 5. The war grinds on. We have the American invasion.
Yes, the GIs arrive. The source describes the arrival of U.S. troops in Belfast and then London. There's a massive parade past St. Paul's Cathedral.
Richard is excited. He reads the papers. He sees it as the cavalry arriving. The industrial might of America is finally here. But Maud is cynical.
Her line is, will it bring us more food?
Classic Maud.
She cuts right through the pageantry. She's focused on the practical realities of survival. The bands playing and the flags waving don't put bread on the table or coal in the fire.
That cynicism is really telling. By 1942, the dazzle of patriotism has worn off for women like Maud. They just see more mouths to feed, more chaos.
Exactly. And speaking of the grim realities of war, there is a scene in this text that is haunting. The bombing of the dead.
The bombing of the dead.
This is vivid and grotesque. German bombers dropped payloads on the West Ham cemetery.
They bombed a cemetery.
Yes, it happens. The family goes to visit the grave of Bert, a beloved character from previous books who died earlier in the war, and they find the graves disturbed.
Wow.
The source describes headstones leaning away from a central crater. It's a violation of the final resting place.
It feels like psychological warfare. Like there is no sanctuary, not even in death. You can't even rest in peace.
It reinforces that sense of nihilism that creeps in during 1942. It's not just about killing the living anymore. It's about disrupting the peace of the dead. It's a total war.
Yeah.
And it affects the living, too. Richard, who is usually the rock, has a crisis.
He gets injured, right?
He does. He's in the home guard, fighting a fire, and he suffers burns and a broken leg.
And this changes him. He's physically incapacitated, which for a man of his generation is a huge blow to his identity.
It is. He becomes moodier, he's in pain, and at the anniversary party, this celebration of Maud and Richard's first year of marriage, he gets drunk.
Richard gets drunk! That seems so out of character.
He gets properly drunk and insults a guest. It's a crack in the facade. It hints at the psychological toll on these steady characters. Even Richard, the calm peacekeeper, is cracking under the strain.
Right.
He's angry at his own helplessness. He can't fix William, he can't fix the war, and now he can't even walk properly.
It's a powerful reminder that everyone has a breaking point, and even the spiritual pillars are crumbling. The vicar, Reverend Harper, gets sick with rheumatic fever. Maud tries to help with her herbal remedies. She's the neighborhood healer after all.
But her old world knowledge fails. She goes to her library, looks up her herbs, but she can't cure him. She realizes that her Victorian remedies are failing against the harsh realities of 1942 health issues. It's another loss of control. The old world is fading, and the new world is just pain and machinery.
Now, amidst all this heaviness, there are some fascinating subplots running through the year. Let's talk about Gail.
Gail is fascinating. She's the 15-year-old shop assistant. The text describes her as big-boned and strong. She is practically running the shop while the adults are falling apart.
And she is evading the authorities.
She is. She's dodging school and conscription. She's just slipping through the cracks. But she is the anchor. While Maud is sick and Arabella is leaving, Gail is there, counting the coupons, serving customers. She represents that quiet, uncelebrated resilience of the younger generation. They don't complain. They just work.
It's interesting how she contrasts with Freddie. Freddie puts on the uniform and leaves. Gail puts on the apron and stays.
That's a brilliant observation. Gail is the unsung hero who keeps the home front functioning while the heroes are off playing soldier or getting into trouble.
Then there's the nephew's game. This is a weird little detour, but it says a lot about the atmosphere of distrust.
It shows how desperation breeds predation. Oliver and Elizabeth, friends of the family who run the pub, are visited by two men claiming to be the nephew of Oliver's deceased brother. They have a birth certificate, they have a money box.
And they take the box and run.
They do. Oliver suspects they are con men, or perhaps, and this is an interesting speculation in the text, a gay couple using the story's cover to stay together and avoid the draft.
Oh, interesting.
It's ambiguous, but it highlights the breakdown of trust. You can't even trust a relative showing up at your door.
Yeah.
Everyone is running a hustle.
It adds to that feeling of claustrophobia. The community is tight-knit, but it's also porous. Strangers can walk in and exploit your grief.
Precisely. And finally, Mark, Arabella's brother.
A tragic figure. He's back in prison for stealing sugar. But when Arabella visits him, he doesn't want to leave. He's institutionalized. The outside world is too chaotic, too hungry. He prefers the order of prison.
That is a bleak commentary on the state of the world when prison is preferable to freedom.
It is. Inside, he gets meals. Outside, he has to fight for scraps. It really underscores how difficult life has become for the average person in 1942.
It flips the narrative of freedom. Mark sees the prison walls as protection, not confinement. It's a sad indictment of the society outside those walls.
So we come to the end of 1942, the conclusion. The year ends not with a victory parade, but with a wet, miserable Christmas.
It's a damp squib. There is no big family reunion. Freddie doesn't come home. He's celebrating with his RAF friends. Will is silent. Maud sends him a letter, but gets nothing back.
The family has completely redefined itself. Think about who is sitting around the table at the end of the year.
It's not the blood family. It's Maud, Richard, a Polish refugee, Agnieszka, and an illegitimate baby, Cleopatra. The blood children, Will, Maggie, Freddie, are either distant, hostile, or absent.
It raises that provocative thought we mentioned at the beginning. The Blitz destroyed buildings, but the long slog of 1942 is destroying relationships.
That is the core takeaway. The family unit is another casualty of war. It is forced to break apart and reassemble into something unrecognizable just to survive. Maud creates a new family out of the wreckage of the old one because she has no choice. She's a glue, but she's gluing together different pieces now.
It's almost like a ship of Theseus situation. Is it still the Morrow family if the Morrows aren't there?
That is the question. But as long as Maud is at the head of the table, I think the answer is yes. She provides the continuity, even if the cast of characters changes.
And we have to remember, this is only book 4 of 8. We're only halfway through.
That is the daunting part. How much more can this structure withstand? The war is far from over for the Morrows. The grind is going to continue. We still have years of conflict ahead. And if 1942 has done this much damage to the family structure, what will 1943 bring?
Well, that is a sobering place to leave it, but a necessary one. It's a reminder that history isn't just about troop movements. It's about the people left behind, trying to make soap from beef fat and hold a family together in the rain.
Absolutely. It's the history of resilience in its rawest form. It's not pretty, it's not romantic, but it's real.
We'll be back next time to see what 1943 holds for the Morrow family. Until then, thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
Stay curious.